lose. But here is the catch. You do not have to be a detective to fight corruption. Good evening, everyone. It is an absolute delight to welcome you all to the Corruption Risk Mapping Research Report launch event. Today's event is about uncovering truths, addressing risks, and equipping ourselves to take meaningful actions. Corruption in the private sector, too, has its own trilogy. First, the mystery. Hidden risks and unseen vulnerabilities that erodes trust. Second, the investigation, where tools like the corruption risk mapping research comes into place to uncover the truth, to shed light on the shadows. And finally, the resolution, a call to action for transparency, accountability, and integrity in the private sector of Sri Lanka. But before we dive into the program, let me tell you a little story. Imagine a ship sailing through the ocean, the ship being the private sector. At first, everything seems very calm. But if one leak goes unnoticed, the entire vessel is at risk of sinking. Corruption works the same way. It starts small, but if left unchecked, it can cause irreversible damage. To find out more, let's proceed with today's agenda. To officially welcome you all on behalf of Transparency International Sri Lanka for the launch of the Corruption Risk Mapping Research, I now invite Nicole Elias to welcome you all on behalf of Transparency International Sri Lanka.
Thank you, Charitma. Good evening to you all. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you all to this special occasion, the launch of Transparency International Sri Lanka's latest report, Corruption Risk Mapping Research, a study on Sri Lanka's private sector. We are very humbled and honored to have such a distinguished audience with us today. The work of the private sector team at TISL would not be possible without our main stakeholder, the private sector, of course, represented here today by several members in the audience, ranging from large conglomerates to multinational corporations and several other companies as well. We understand that as the year is coming to a close, that you all have very busy schedules, and despite that, we sincerely thank you for taking the time to be here today. I also want to warmly welcome our other distinguished guests from various embassies, donor organizations, research organizations, members of our panel discussion, the media, TISL's board of directors. We thank you all for being here today. Your presence is a testament to the importance of the work that we are unveiling here today. This report represents over a year of dedicated effort, collaboration, and research by my team, spearheaded by our independent consultant, who is here with us today to present the insightful findings of our research. It is more than just a collection of data and insights. It is a roadmap, a call to action, and a tool for positive change. Our goal in conducting the corruption risk mapping research, which we call CRMR for short, was to bridge this information gap with reference to private sector corruption in Sri Lanka. The report covers several areas. It provides an in-depth analysis of corruption risks in Sri Lanka's private sector. It also provides possible measures to address such risks. It then also documents and narrates alleged experiences and examples of private sector corruption, and also provides recommendations to companies and the government on how to address these risks. We are positive that the findings of the research would better help TISL help the Sri Lankan private sector in addressing corruption. However, as mentioned in our report, which we'll be distributing shortly, and also our independent consultant will cover this as well, there are certain limitations to the report. Therefore, the research should be regarded as a preliminary scoping exercise intended to provide insights into corruption risks faced by the private sector in Sri Lanka, which provides a solid basis for the development of further in-depth research. The findings of this report come at a pivotal time. In 2022, the Sri Lankan public demanded a system change. We also now have a new government that came into power on an anti-corruption mandate. And corruption in Sri Lanka, as we all know, has always been systemic in nature, and it takes on so many various forms and has become so normalized that individuals do not even realize that they're engaging in corruption. There is also a certain belief that corruption does not really affect people on a personal level. However, the effects of corruption are known to be great. It can deter investment, it can undermine market competition, it can also cause irreparable reputational damage to your own company, and can cause social impacts such as producing low quality goods at insanely high costs. So corruption in Sri Lanka for the most part has also been seen as a public sector problem. Amidst large-scale corruption scandals in the public sector, the role that the private sector plays in sometimes facilitating corruption is often ignored. So this report sheds light on this as well. We believe that the insights and recommendations presented here will spark meaningful conversations and discussions, inspire action, and guide decision-making in the months and years ahead. I would like to take a moment to acknowledge and express my gratitude to the incredible team behind this report. Their hard work, expertise, and passion have been instrumental in bringing this vision to life. A special thanks to TISL's Program Officer for the Private Sector, who I cannot see at the moment, who's hiding, is Lakmini Sujata over there, for spearheading this effort, and to Michelle Handia, independent researcher. I also want to thank our partners and supporters who have made this journey possible, such as the donor that supported this research, the Center for International Private Enterprise, who unfortunately couldn't make it today, but their contributions have been invaluable to the success of this publication. Today's event is also more than just a launch. It's an opportunity to engage and collaborate. So after we present the research findings and provide you all with copies of the report, we will be having an insightful panel discussion on the topic Beyond Compliance, True Business Integrity in a Box-Ticking World, where our distinguished panel, who is seated right here, will share their insights and perspectives. And there will also be an opportunity for questions, discussion, and networking, so I encourage all of you to make the most of this platform. We will also have a short presentation from one of TISL's partners, Verite Research. They have conducted a legal gap analysis on private sector corruption, and you will have the opportunity to hear about their findings as well. As we embark on this exciting journey together, I invite you to not only explore the findings of this report, but to also think about how you can contribute to the changes it calls for. Let's use this moment to drive progress, foster innovation, and build a brighter future. Once again, thank you all for being here today and for your continued support and interest in TISL's vision towards a nation that upholds integrity. Thank you very much.